Hey, what's up, Reefers? I'm Reefer Matt, and this is the June update. Come on, let's have a look. Here's the 75-gallon SPS tank. This tank's doing pretty good. I've actually been keeping an eye on the phosphates in this tank. This tank actually consumes a lot of phosphate, so I'm thinking it's because of the coral in here. I also have a little fuge, but the nitrates are still up pretty high. I'll post the parameters here for you too. But things are going pretty good in here. I've just been trimming, like right there you can see how those guys are sort of touching. I've been trimming that back, and also over here next to the Disney. So just trying to keep everybody happy. As you can see, they're all growing into each other, especially right here. I mean, look at that. I'm just kind of letting it do its thing there. I'm not really trying to intervene with that. There's cardinal fish. What I dose in this tank, in case you haven't seen this before, is I use the Seachem Reef Fusion 1 and 2, and that works really well. I've tried other things, but that product really works for this tank, so I just keep using it. That's a cool coral back there. I replaced one of my acros back there that wasn't doing so well, so that's the one that's replacing it. And there's Sarge, the Sergeant Major damselfish. And this right here, this castaway Montipora, is just taking over. I mean, even it's growing over the Pavona there, which is really weird. But that's cool. It's a nice looking coral. But yeah, it's growing. See that? So they'll fill in a lot of that rock there pretty soon. There just isn't going to be any rock showing. They'll have coral on everything, which will be neat. And then this Montipora digitata up here is pretty much touching the water again. So that's cool. That's really brittle, so sometimes I'll accidentally bump it and I'll just put it back in place, and it just keeps growing up towards the water there. There's my lemon damselfish. Those are really nice fish too. They get along with everybody. I got 3 of them in here. And the purple tang. Yes, I have a purple tang in a 75-gallon, but that's all. He's only like maybe 3 or 4 inches long. He's not huge. He's about 6 years old. So I don't think he's going to get much bigger than that. But he helps keep the tank clean, and he's really happy in here. He's got a lot of swimming room and a lot of current too. So that's the 75-gallon SPS tank. And here's the 135-gallon follower tank. This is it started off as a predator tank. So sort of still has some of those kind of fish in it. There's Puffy, my buddy, my dog-faced pufferfish, cruising back and forth. There's a huma huma trigger. And this burrfish is getting huge too. That guy right there. He's about the same size as Puffy now, and he was half the size when I got him. Not that long ago, really. Probably about 5 months ago, maybe. So he's doing really good. And there's Leonidas, a lionfish. He's getting big too. I mean, he's already huge. He's like a foot long, but he's starting to fill out. He's starting to bulk up a little bit, which is cool. And then Brownie the foxface is doing good. He's helping keeping the tank clean now, along with Finn. What I ended up doing, which was really weird, I got a little story about this, is you sell that algae back there in the back glass. I wanted to see if I can get the phosphates down, because the phosphates are just off the chart in this tank, along with the nitrates. So I ran some GFO, and I got the phosphates down. I mean, there's no coral in here, so I just went ahead and tried to strip them out. Well, these guys stopped eating the algae for some reason, and I don't know why. Maybe it changed the flavor or something, and this algae got really bad for a while. I'll see if I can find a picture or video, an old video of it, but it got really long and stringy. and they wouldn't touch it. So I think now, like 7 months later, it's back to normal. It's just a little bit on the back glass, but they're actually eating it again, which is cool. So I'm not going to touch it. So I think it just changed the flavor for them or whatever, and they just didn't like it anymore. So they're doing a good job. So I'm just going to leave well enough alone. I just do water changes just to kind of help keep the nitrates and phosphates, in the lower range. So just so they don't keep going so high, but I'm not looking to strip them out anymore. But everybody in here is doing really good. They're really healthy. I feed these guys vitamin M with their food, which they eat a whole bunch of different things like shrimp and clams and scallops and some silver sides for this guy here. So they eat a whole bunch of different kind of food. Nice big chunky foods. So that's the 135 gallon Fowler tank, and they're all doing really good too. All right, time for the SPS frag tank. Actually, I got one coral in here that's not an SPS. I'll show you that first, I guess. That elegance coral right there. I left it in there because my clownfish likes it. I don't see, oh, there he is. He's there in the front. So the rest of the coral in here are SPS coral except for that elegance. So I think I'll just leave it in here. But I'm doing a grow out contest right now, a Battle Corals grow out contest on Reef to Reef. And it's two separate contests. It's this one right here. If I can zoom in on that. That's the Houdini and that's the Eflo. And I'm just playing for fun, basically. I'm not going to keep the prize. If I win it, I'll either let somebody else win it or I'll just give it away in a drawing or something, but I'm not going to keep it. It was for a battle box. I got some other cool stuff in here. As you see, I got some pink bird's nest. There's some pink stylophora that I'm coloring out. There's a huge chunk of bird's nest back there that I got to rehome, but it's cool. It's green and pink. And look at this big old chunky acro here. I got that on a wholesale order, and I'm going to grow it out, color it up a little bit. I mean, it's already grown out, but I want to, make sure it's good. But I'll color it up and then I'll frag it up. In like, I don't know, 4 months or so, 5 months, I'll make a couple frags out of it. But I really like it. I think it's also a millie, which is my favorite acropora. So that was cool too. And then this is my acro collection here. I've just been buying them and collecting them. I got some from cherry corals here, and then some from battle corals over here, and then some like this one I've had for a couple of years now, and that's really all that it's done. This green one here in front. So I'll see what happens with that. But I just collect stuff like that. I got some bigger ones in the back, but that's pretty neat. This will be once I frag it out, it'll be a little more organized. But there's a cool forest fire digitata there. It's starting to get the green. I don't know if I can get it on camera here. But this tank's doing really good too. I'll post the parameters for this tank right here. And you can see what I'm running it at. It's pretty similar to the 75-gallon SPS tank. And there's my buddy there, the rabbitfish. I forgot what kind of rabbitfish. I think it was a leopard rabbitfish. See the little spots on them? I can't remember the name, but I think that's it. And then another Sergeant Major damselfish. I like those fish. They're cool. But those guys are helping. I'm getting a little bit of algae in here, a little bit of turf algae. You can kind of see it down there. So these guys are helping with that. And I also put an urchin in here if I can find it. Let's see. Now the urchin is hiding somewhere. But I put an urchin in there to help with that too. But all in all, this tank's doing good too. I've just been keeping the parameters stable. And just keeping everything going and making sure I do my water changes. Because I don't have any nutrient export other than a skimmer down here. I don't have a fuge or nothing, so I got to make sure that I do water changes to keep the nitrates down. The same thing is the 75-gallon SPS tank. This tank just consumes phosphates, so I think it's an SPS thing. So I've been watching the phosphates and dosing those as needed as well. And that's the SPS frag tank. And here's the other frag tank. This eventually is going to be a softy tank. Right now it's a mixed tank. I got some cool stuff in. Zoom look at that torch. That's a cool torch right there. The listing on it just said yellow torch, and yep, it's yellow. I mean, I really like it. It's really cool. And I'm not really a torch guy, but this is the only other one I have right here. So that was pretty neat. I just picked up this frog spawn yesterday from Cherry Corals. And I've just been growing out a lot of stuff in here. As you can see, I got a little GSP wall growing there. And I really like the Dragon Soul Prism Favia here. So I got a few more pieces of that. And this one right here I've had for over a year. I'm just growing that out. But I just like to grow things out. As you can see, I got a lot of candy cane there. I got to frag up. But I had an issue with some zoas melting on me. Like right here, this tile used to be covered in Fruit Loop zoas. And for some reason, I'll even show you on my frags themselves. Right here, you can only see two of them left. These four right here all had Fruit Loop zoas on them, and for some reason, all of my Fruit Loop zoas at once just melted. I don't know why. So I ran some carbon, and things seemed to be better because I noticed like the rest of them were sort of closing up a little bit, and some of them weren't. But after I ran carbon for a couple days, things were much better. So I don't know if it was some coral warfare going on between these LPS and the softies. Could be, I don't know. So I just did a water change and ran some carbon, and things are much better now. I got some more mushrooms in there. Check those out. I got a little grab bag of mushrooms. Got Discosoma, Rhodactis, and some other ones in there. I think, oh yeah, Recordia, that was the other one. And I got these cool no-name ones here. They almost look like a GMK, but they're not. They're not quite as colorful, but they still look pretty cool. So yeah, and I got these Gargonias here. I gotta frag this up. This thing's like, I don't know, 5 inches tall already. I just got it maybe a couple weeks ago, and it was like half that size, so it grew that much already. So I'm gonna frag that up. But these guys, the rest of them are doing okay. I got some little Zoa rocks here too. I'm gonna frag up, but I think things are going better. Oh, check out this Goniapora here. It's like a rainbow Goniapora. I fragged that up. It was one colony, and I had to make sure there was nothing in it because I read that they can have like boring worms and stuff in them. So I took it to the saw and cleaned it up and then put it on frags, and that's doing pretty good too. So I'm real excited to get into more LPS because LPS are sort of my Achilles heel in reefing. So they seem to be doing really good in here. I am using Alpha Reef in this tank, so I can post some of the parameters here. But all in all, it's doing better now. It's just I had a little hiccup with some of the zoas, but things are turning around now. And that's the other frag tank, the mixed frag tank. All right, well, I mentioned that I was going to move the LPS, and this is going to be, I got some work to do yet. This is going to be the LPS frag tank, and this is my first rimless tank, and I am like sort of nervous about it. Just because I'm used to fully framed tanks, but somebody did a really good job resealing this tank. They actually took the panels apart and redid it, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I just made this stand for it last weekend, and I still got to put a couple boards under this sump and clean it up, and I get that propped up and get the plumbing going. I just got a baffle today I got to put in for that too, but this is going to be the LPS frag tank. So then I'll have one for each type of coral. I'll have one for SPS, softies, and LPS. So stay tuned for updates for this too as I go through it, and I'll show you how to cycle a tank just in case you haven't been through it and you're new to reefing. And here's my little buddy here. This Korean angelfish. I got it for my birthday. My kids bought it for me. It was one of those things where, you know, your kids go to the pet store and they buy you something and not really know what it is. And, you know, the shop owner wants to sell them something. So they got me this for my birthday for that tank over there for the fowler. But as you can see, there he is. I got an emperor angel in that tank, and he tore this fish up. So Luckily, I took him out. I put him back in the QT tank here. It's been about 6 months now, and he's healed up. He's such a cool fish, and I know that he can't stay in this tank. This tank's only a 20-gallon tall, so I'm gonna find a good home for him. I just been feeding him every day. He like comes out and greets me and stuff. It's a really nice fish, so I want to find a special home for it. But it didn't work out in the other tank, but I still enjoy the fish. But just long term, I can't keep it in here. But I just figured I'd share him. He's doing better now. His fins are healed up in the back. Okay, you're looking at a fan blowing on my tank and going, why is there a fan blowing on the tank? We'll get to that in a minute. But here is the 36-gallon bow front. I just cleaned it yesterday. This tank's been a mess, but I've been doing the water changes on it. But it's been getting some green hair algae, and I got kind of long for a while. As you can see, there's still some there, but I cleaned it up yesterday, and I threw an extra urchin in here. Check out this green Neptia, which is freaking huge. Takes up about half the tank. But this tank I'm going to take down once the new frag tank is going. And then I'll move these coral and the fish. And then I'll figure out what to do with the rock. Because the rock has hydroids on it, so I don't want to reuse it. Maybe I'll just let it dry out and reuse it at a later date. There's a clownfish. He really likes hanging out in there. So this thing's not bad. There's the current lights for this. Those work really good. Those are probably the only current lights I suggest getting for a reef tank. Those are the Orbit R24s. And they work really good for reef tanks compared to the other ones. They actually have enough power. So the reason I have a fan blowing on this, and I'll zoom in down there. Look at that. See how the stand's swelled up? What happened is this little cheapy skimmer I got here, it was overflowing. And it's sort of on an angle, at least it was. And what it was doing is the water was coming out, and it was going down there, and it was soaking up. I don't think it's particle board all the way. It's just got like a coating on it. I think it's actually solid wood in the middle, which is good. So luckily I caught it, and now I'm just drying it out. But I just hope that I don't have a mess on my hands later on. But as soon as I get that other tank up and running in a couple months anyway, I'll be tearing this down. So I'm just drying that wood out right now. That's why the fan's on it. But this tank's all nice and clean now. And the coral are still doing pretty good in here, except for the zoas. But all the LPS and stuff, and that toadstool is getting pretty big. They're doing good. So that's the 36-gallon bow front. Well, I hope you guys are staying cool in the summer heat. And don't forget to take care of those tanks. I'm Reefer Matt. Thank you for watching, and happy reefing.